Yeah, I should win just because you had the Timberwolves in the 8th seed.
Vasilevsky's been playing really well, and the Lightning have great offense.
Yeah, it was a tremendous shot, and I've come to expect it from LeBron. I would say I wish the best for the Red Sox, but as a Yankees fan, that's really hard for me to do.
The biggest addition to me is Jalen Brunson.
Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, and that's all I have to say. He's still a top 5 quarterback in this league, and there's nothing really anyone can do about it.
Why'd you have to name him? Like, seriously. Thanks, man.
Who would have thought 5 years ago that the Clippers and Nets would be facing in the finals?
How is Joe Burrow going to get the ball to them if his butt is already on the ground?
Crazy. And for the fans at home,
Hello, I'm Cy Mendenhall, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NBA Opinions of the Week, which concludes our streak of MLB videos as we went on a little bit of an MLB run just with the week. July 12th was the last video where it was an MLB, and that, of course, was an NBA video and talked about LA. But Austin, I'm wondering, is this... Of course, the Lakers are going to get the focus because they have LeBron and Luka, but the Clippers seem just like a well-built team that just got better with Bradley Beal.
I'm a friend who thinks that the Clippers were the fourth best team in the league last year, and it makes some sense. I mean, they almost beat the Nuggets, even though Game 7 wasn't close, who almost beat the Thunder, even though Game 7 wasn't close. And then there's the Pacers, obviously, are also up there, but the Clippers were a very good team last year, and despite what Game 7 was, they were contenders, and I am fearful of the Clippers this year. I think adding Beal, who is, if you round, shot over 50% the last 3 seasons from the field. He shot from 10 to 16 feet, 51% from the field last year. He's one of the best mid-range shooters in the league, and his impact, while it's not felt as much as a pure ball handler, as a scorer, he can still get a bucket at any time. The thing is the Suns didn't need that. So people always think that he was bad. One, because he wasn't worth his contract, which I can definitely agree with you with. But he can get a bucket at any point. And him being passed the ball by a John Wall-esque type passer in James Harden, and being surrounded with another good shooter in Kawhi, and this video is not just about Bradley Beal, but also the entirety of the Clippers offseason. They now have John Collins. John Collins is a very good power forward. That was the other guy, I'm going to just hear that. We were trying to think of the other guy they added. I'm like, I know they added somebody else. We were trying to list the guys they were added, Kevin. But they added John Collins in a trade. Now they have Brook Lopez, and they obviously have Ivica Zubac. So that top 6 is extremely, extremely talented. And their bench still looks very good. And I will be shocked, barring injuries. So say this team plays a normal amount of games. Kawhi plays 50 to 60 games. James Harden plays 50, 60 games. Beal plays 50 to 60 games. And this team's healthy come playoff time. I find it very hard to believe this team is not a title contender.
Yeah, that... I can understand. The only reason there was a funny meme, it was who stops this team, and it was Harden, Beal, and Leonard, and it was like probable game time decision out.
But Kawhi still a couple years ago played 60 games in a season. I mean, and last year, even though he was out for half the year with his injury, when he came back, he played the majority of games. Like, he didn't sit out all that many. I mean, I'll check to see exactly once he came back. So he played 37 games last year. What were you saying?
And they did well without him. Like, they were staying afloat. Like, we did a video of if they stay afloat, what does this team look like? So I think they are title contenders, not just because of Brad Beal. It's because of this roster. And as I'm looking on it, I saw John Collins, as you mentioned. They also, they signed Ben Simmons. He was a buyout, and it still has him listed on their roster. So, and I'm not saying Ben Simmons is a big piece, but I think Ben Simmons is a good depth piece for the regular season because he's a great defensive player.
He's a great passer, though, great rebounder, and a great ball handler. And if he can ever get it together, I mean, he'll be a scary player. I know we've said that for what feels like a decade now, but still, he'll be a good player off the bench no matter what. And while he might not be the player you want on the court all the time because he can't shoot, he is still impacting the game positively. But I'm looking Kevin's from the last month of the year. So April 13th to March 14th, 1 month. Kawhi only missed 2 games during that stretch. So last month of the season, he only missed 2 games, once against the Spurs and one against Cleveland. And during that stretch, he averaged. Do you want to guess how many points he averaged during that stretch?
Oh, I'm going to guess 22.
26. During the last month of the season, he averaged 26, 7, and 4 with 2.1 steals per game. He was shooting 49% from 3, 55% from the field, and just 87.5% from the line. But he was dominant during that last stretch. And while I don't expect Kawhi to play 70 games, I could definitely see him hitting 50 or 60 games. I don't think that's all that crazy to believe. I mean, like I said, in 23-24, he played 68 games. In 23-24, that was just 2 seasons ago. That was not last season, but the season before that. So I think he'll play around 50 games this year, along with Harden, who may play around 60 games, and around Beal, who will probably play around 50 games, just like Kawhi. So if they win the majority of the games that they all play together, and like they did last year, survive without them, because I think there'll be games where Harden doesn't play, but Kawhi and Beal play, and vice versa. But I think this will be a playoff team, no doubt, and not just a playoff team, but a title contender. Because in the playoffs, again, Game 7 was rough, but outside of that game, I mean, they were in that series all the way. They were an Aaron Gordon game-winning dunk with .0001 seconds left from winning that game. I know that game would have gone on OT, but let's say when they win that game, and then there is no Game 7, right? And they go play the Thunder, and who knows what happens in that series. So I think they're an extremely competitive team, and I would argue at this point, as I'm looking at it, the 3rd best team in the West. I put them behind both OKC and Denver. Denver's obviously gotten better. We'll have to see what OKC does. It's really hard for me not to put Denver above OKC right now because of all the additions they've made. But right now, out of respect for the Thunder winning their title, I have them 1, Nuggets 2, and then the Clippers 3.
Yeah, that's a great list, and yeah, they're really thinking about it. It's a different landscape, I would say. But yeah, of course, OKC, Denver. Then, yeah, they're definitely a playoff team. It's just how do they compare to teams like the Nuggets and Thunder? And I just think you'll have to see that in the playoffs because you can make an argument for it. And it depends on their health.
We saw they played against the Nuggets last year, and both of those teams have gotten better now. I think the Nuggets are the better team. I think they would win probably in 7 again. But the Jazz giving up John Collins to get who did they get? What was the trade? How did they get John Collins? I know he was.
I thought John Collins. It was involved with the Miami Heat, so it's part of the Norman Powell trade.
I knew. I was saying, who did the Jazz get? Because I remember Norman. That's right. I remember Norman Powell going to the Heat.
The Jazz got. Why are they not giving me a list of this trade as I pull it up? So, Kevin Love, Kyle Anderson, and a 2027 Clippers 2nd-round pick to Utah.
And they cut Kevin Love. And
yeah.
They kept Kyle Anderson, but they'll probably cut him too. So it was really just for cash. So they traded John Collins, who they had to hold out of games because John Collins was playing too well. And I mean, I've always been a big John Collins fan. He averaged 19 points per game last year. I doubt he averages that much. But he'll probably be around 17, 18 points. He's a good rebounder, solid defender. And he got back his shooting touch, and that is what he was missing. During those last couple of years with Atlanta, he broke his finger while he was shooting around 40% from 3. He shot 40.1 and 39.9 and broke his finger after this was after the Eastern Conference Finals run they went on. After that, he broke his finger. The next year, he shot 36.4, 29.2, then 37.1 last year with the Jazz. Or no, 2 years ago with the Jazz. And the last year with the Jazz, shot 39.9%. He's got his shooting touch back. So if Zubac is out, and you play Brook Lopez, John Collins, Bradley Beal, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, all 5 of those guys, Kevin, have shot 40% from 3 in the season. All 5. That is insane. I mean, if you talk about shooting and diversity, and Brook Lopez is still a good defender, while he cannot rebound all. Actually, Brook Lopez has never shot 40%, but he's shot high percentages before. I think we all know him as a good shooter. And so you're going to have shooters at every position. And even if you keep Zubac on the floor as your starting lineup, you have 4 guys who can shoot really well and 1 guy that can't. And that's fine in today's NBA. You can have 1 guy not shoot. You just can't have 2. And I think that's part of the problem with them last year is that they had some guys on the court, especially in that power forward position when Derrick Jones Jr. was on the court, that really couldn't shoot as well or as proficiently or at the volume that they needed to. But they're going to have serious scoring threats at every position now. I mean, if you just go points per game last year, Beal averaged 17. I mean, Zubac basically averaged 20. Harden averaged 20, basically. Kawhi averaged 22. I mean, everybody on that team is basically averaging. I guess Zubac averaged 17, but basically everyone averaged 17 or above. That is going to be in their starting lineup. They are going to have the scoring, and I think they're going to have good enough defense with obviously Kawhi. And Harden isn't the worst off-ball defender. On ball, there's question marks, obviously. Same thing with Beal. But John Collins is a bad defender, and then you have Zubac, and then off the bench you have Brook Lopez. And if you really wanted to be a great interior defensive team, I mean, and if you're playing a team like Giannis or the Bucks with Giannis, like you could play Brook Lopez and Zubac together and just crowd the paint because Brook Lopez can shoot. So he doesn't on offense, he's still in the corner. So you don't have to worry about now defensively the switchability is questioned. But you can play Zubac and Brook Lopez together in some lineups because of Brook Lopez's versatility shooting the ball.
Yeah, I think that's a great point you bring up. And you mentioned Giannis, but I do think the height is important for teams in the West, such as it's tricky to see what they will do, but you have to think about Minnesota. You have Rudy Gobert, and they brought back Naz Reid, but definitely with the Thunder, who have Chet and Isaiah Hartenstein. But another thing about the Clippers is, let's say Kawhi misses a couple of games, Derrick Jones Jr. is on the bench, and he's not the scorer of Kawhi, but he is a great defender and does bring starting. I know he started for them last year, and then of course started for the Mavs when they went on that championship run for them. Derrick Jones Jr. is a great defender. It's just offensively, but you have other,
He could shoot. I mean, he averaged above 10 points per game last year. Averaged 10.1 for the first time of his career. He was good in Dallas, and he continued that last year. I mean, he shot better from 3 with the Clippers than he did with Dallas. He shot better from the field. He shot 52.6% from the field. The only thing he shot worse at was free throw by 1%. But he can definitely step in. You're 100% correct. The Clippers have a good roster. And they also have Chris Dunn, who was very good for them last year. I mean, their defense off the bench with Dunn, Derrick Jones Jr., and Brook Lopez, that is nasty. I mean, their top 8 defensively is extremely – I mean, they still have Bogdanovic. We haven't even mentioned Bogdanovic.
Yeah.
Now, I still think he has some problems with his game, but as a shooter, I mean, they are a scary, scary deep team, and a team that I know that Ty Lue has had some hate about him before, but he's still an NBA champion head coach. He knows what it takes to get it done, and I'm excited for this season for the Clippers. Wouldn't it be kind of crazy if this was the team that Harden or Beal won a title on? I feel like it would be kind of nuts, but
it would be. I was having that same thought. Like,
this is it. If this isn't it, I know I've said this for the Clippers before, but I didn't think they were going to build a team this good or Harden be this good. Harden was amazing last year. One of the best point guards in the league by far, easily top 5. But not to give a hint about our championship or bust, but this is it. I mean, I can see Harden, Kawhi, and Beal all being basically done with basketball after this season. I know Beal's younger, but Beal's already talked about not wanting to move to other teams, and he wanted to stay kind of close to home, all that stuff. So if you don't do it this year, the desperation is definitely going to be in effect. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, this really reminds me of teams when we started the channel of just how well built that Clippers team was when it was just Kawhi and Paul George. When you think about at the time, he was still really good. Montrezl Harrell, you had Patrick Beverley, They added, he was on the Nuggets when they won. He was a point guard. Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson. Yep.
Yep. And now I think it's even better because you have these great stars, but there are faults because I think injuries for all of them. But Harden, Leonard, Beal, and then we talked about the other players on it. And I'm interested. They have young guys as well. Kobe Brown was a first round pick from a few years. And then I believe they also have Cam Christie, who I believe was a Lakers pick.
No, he's just related to Max Christie, I think. Or maybe
Okay.
he was a Lakers
It
pick,
said,
but I don't think
no,
so.
it looks like, it looks like he is just related to Max Christie or his same name as Max Christie. He was a second round pick in 2024. So they have some young guys as well. I was wrong. It looks like Ben Simmons is not currently on the roster. He's a free agent again, but it is
Yeah,
a really
Christie,
deep
they're
team.
brothers. They're brothers. I thought
Okay,
they
they're
were.
brothers. Okay. But young guys who could maybe step up and just bench roles during the regular season just to get them to the playoffs. And then you can shorten it to what we've already talked about, a great top 8, great top 6. So that is all we really have. It's really impressive that they did this again in kind of the Kawhi era of the Clippers. Because that
Kawhi era is still there, and the desperation is going to be there. And what the legacy changing this would be for Harden, for Beal, for Ty Lue. Kawhi, I think, cemented his legacy no matter what happens. But I do think this would bolster it even further. I mean, 3 championships with 3 teams is not something many people can say.
And it's important because that trade is still a failure. With kind of that Kawhi and Paul George era, because you gave up SGA, who already has a
If you
finals
win a
MVP.
title, then you have as many titles as they do, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
OKC wins one, but if you win one, then it's kind of even kill.
Yeah. So that's another key thing as well, and you could possibly see that in the playoffs. So that let us know your thoughts in the comments. We appreciate you listening to Outsiders Opinions.